Halt what you're doing. Stop now. I am not speaking to your rational calculations, your anxieties, or the belief that wealth must be torn from life by toil and sorrow. I address your soul, the part that has always remembered. You were not created to wrestle with money, but to converse with it. Money is neither your ruler nor your opponent, nor a prize earned through suffering. It is a loyal servant, calm and ready to receive your directives. When speech is synchronized with truth, money answers not later, not one day, not as a reward for imagined merit, but at once gladly and without resistance. Words released with spiritual authority transform scarcity into sufficiency. A decree saturated with divine awareness joins the seen and unseen. I therefore proclaim, money is not my master. It is my obedient servant. This is not poetry. It is not metaphor. This is law. Divine law, irrefutable, eternal, perfect, and it is ready to work for you. The principle I invoke comes before your hesitation, before your accounts, before anxiety itself. It is the union of the law of utterance with the law of instant creation. When the decree is clean and the tone bears faith, not fear heaven answers, you shall also decree a thing, and it shall be established for you. This is no suggestion. It is jurisdiction recognized in the realm of spirit. A monarch's speech becomes statute. A beggar's words scatter unheard. Which voice do you wear when you address money? Do you murmur as a casualty or proclaim as a conqueror? Money does not heed hope. It follows command. You may have imagined, affirmed, wished, or prayed. Yet if your voice shakes your tone, flickers, or your language falls into uncertainty, your decrees disintegrate like paper on iron. Speak not to the difficulty, but to the environment as though the lack never appeared. Here lies the key. You do not move money by narrating its absence. You move it by announcing your stance. Picture a disciplined creature. It responds not to your need, but to an unwavering, precise command. It senses your tone, observes your bearing, and detects your certainty. Money behaves the same. If you plead, "Please come," money lingers. If you confess, "I don't know how," it reflects your disarray. But when you assert, "I order now," with the conviction of heaven behind me, the fabric of creation acknowledges and complies. Say this with me: money is not my master. It is my obedient servant. Allow stale doctrines to crumble. Let the religion of strain expire. Permit the law of divine alignment to awaken in you now. We voice this not as chant desire or practice run, but as judgment, a spiritual ruling from the seat of authority. The decree is money. I address you now. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Do not rush past this pronouncement. Let no pursuer of truth water down this potency. These lines are not decorative phrases for mental amusement. They are holy directives that command matter from spirit. Wealth is less a metric than a resonance, less paper than presence. It is not seized, but spoken into form. The tongue is the key, and this statement is the turning of it. Why it works begins here. It correctly names money not as a human overlord, a lure, or a dreaded idol, but as it truly is, divine substance. Its origin is not banks, employers, customers' agreements, or market weather. It is spiritual divine, emerging from the unseen order formed by voice and molded by awareness. Until you name it divine, you will dread it. Until you name it obedient, you will pursue it. Next, the statement strips away personification. You do not ask money about its temperament. You do not fret about its willingness. You do not cower before its quiet. You issue direction. Address it as a craftsman does an instrument. You do not romanticize a hammer. You wield it with purpose. Likewise, with money, you do not idolize it. You direct it. Finally, the sentence asserts spiritual rulership not from jittery feeling emergency or strained pleading, but from lucid, calm, immovable authority. This is not performance. It is alignment, the resonance of the soul recalling its identity. You are not a wishful candidate queuing outside the storehouse. You are the threshold. You are the word that unlocks it. You are the sound that defines Worthset's timing and issues command. Let us train now, not once, but in cadence with breath resting each syllable upon the stillness of law. Draw air deep to the belly. Shallow breath signals fear, deep breath forges assurance. As you exhale, declare with me slowly, without apology, money, now I speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Again, money, now I speak to you. You are the divine substance, and you obey my voice. And once again, let every cell consent and your inner tribunal quiet itself before your ruling money. I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. This is not performance, it is law. It is not sorcery, it is dominion. Announce it each day. Speak it prior to viewing figures, prior to agreements, prior to balances. Persist until the world inclines, until matter rearranges, until circumstances turn from scraping by to overflow. Do not talk like a mere advisor. Speak as one who issues the ruling that replaces one reality with another. Now overthrow the cult of hurry, the masquerade of strain, the myth that has worn down the faithful and coached spiritual nobility to exist like paupers. For ages, people have labored under the fiction that money is made by sweat, that worth must be squeezed from the forehead, and that abundance arrives only by sacrifice and fatigue. Hear me, this is not divine statute, it is conditioned human habit. It is not spiritual reality, it is bodily trance. And now a choice is required. Will you obey hurry or harmony? Will you hold to the world's sweat-drenched dogma, or step into the kingdom's steady stream, where money answers to decree rather than distress, where wealth moves by resonance rather than arithmetic, where spiritual substance follows the voice, not exertion, status, resume, or ceaseless labor? We start by exchanging the vocabulary of bondage for the language of alignment. You must stop saying, I have to chase after it. Chasing presumes wealth is fleeing, that provision is uncertain, that money skulks and must be pursued with strain and worry. Money, however, does not conceal itself. It is attentive. It is not on the run. It is a disciplined servant awaiting command. Replace the phrase with I harmonize. I align with the river of divine movement. I sync with the statute that manages growth. I travel with the cadence of spiritual plenty and permit it to lift me. When I speak in harmony with truth, provision comes without strain, with ease. Banish the phrase I earn. Uproot it as you would weeds. It is the anthem of spiritual forgetfulness, the chant of those who have misplaced their inheritance and do not recall that gifts flow freely to the one who remembers. Use instead, I align with it. Money is not earned, it is permitted. It is not chased, it is welcomed. And it will not locate you if your language reveals a mind soaked in weariness. You do not overpower sunlight, you part the drape. You do not defeat gravity, you yield to its draw. Likewise, with divine supply, it is not captured by toil, it is accessed by principle. Therefore, I cancel every murmur, every internal refrain, every inherited homily proclaiming money is hard. It is not. Money complies. Money answers. Money is formed by the one whose speech carries authority. Announce this with me now. Money is obedient. I am the voice it hears. Say this until your whole body consents, until the inherited drumbeat within your blood grows quiet, until each mental pathway trained for strain is replaced by grace. Money is obedient. I am the voice it obeys. Now see this. Imagine a contract composed in the dialect of toil, inked with sweat, fear, and fatigue, penned by parents, teachers, and youth, and endorsed silently by your former self. And now, within your inner vision, I place a pen in your hand. I place fire in your grasp. Rip up that document. Burn it. Let it vanish in the light of spiritual reality. See the ashes of that false pact drift away as you issue a new covenant. I sign my name to ease. I bind myself to abundance. I proclaim that wealth arrives not by pain, but by spiritual alignment. You are no pack animal. You are a commander. You are no captive of effort. You are the voice of divine increase. Allow the phantom of grind to collapse. Let the idol of urgency expire. Let the hands be still and the word ascend. Our chief error is not wanting wealth, but the stance we take toward it. Many speak as strangers, as supplicants tapping a door they assume is locked. Hence, the voice is faint, the words request approval, and proclamations fade into interrogation. The substance of wealth, like a disciplined guard awaiting orders, receives no definite directive, and therefore stands idle without assignment. Hear this, lift your awareness now, for you were created not to talk like one who waits, but to welcome divine supply. You are not a mendicant at wealth's threshold. You are the threshold. You are the voice. You are the mouth through which heaven shapes matter. You are the sender, not the pursuer. You are the decree, not the hesitation. So accept this charge, speak from heaven rather than lack. Let your words reflect law, not the echo of your ledger. This segment contains a break in the wording. I no longer ask I this sentence grow within you. Appears incomplete. Please provide the exact full sentence so I can render a precise paraphrase without altering your meaning. The remainder is clear, and I preserve it. May this decree mature within you until it straightens your stance, steadies your breath, and converts shaking petitions into soul-born decisions. Your quiet is not humility, but postponement. Your shyness is not sanctity, but refusal. You carry the image of the God whose utterance summons galaxies into being. You bear the likeness of the Christ who addressed a tempest, "Peace be still," and the winds surrendered. If that image is yours, your speech should carry that same divine assurance. I press you now, not later, not after another wage, not once fear quiets, to cease repeating your account ledger and begin amplifying the inventory of the kingdom. Quit rehearsing costs and start invoking inheritance. Refuse to narrate scarcity and begin to declare spiritual law. Do not pray as an applicant. Issue decree as one already enthroned. The gap between those stuck in want and those who expand wealth is not chiefly skill schedule or cleverness, but cadence, authority, and voice. One talks like a supplicant. The other names realities. The substance of money is unmoved by pleas. It moves under appointment. Money does not answer begging. It answers summoning. It is not animated by requests. It is set in motion by decisions. Speak with me now, not as an exercise or experiment, but from the truth rising through your very frame. I do not apply for money. I name it. Once more, I do not apply for money. I name it. Continue until your voice gains weight, counterfeit humility shatters, and an abundance mind infuses your timbre. Your task is not to pursue money, but to conduct it. Not to plead for surplus, but to license its outflow. Whenever you speak from the source, the unseen order bends to arrange what your voice has authorized. This stance is not pride, it is alignment. It is not fantasy, it is rightful rule. Though the world urges you to be practical, I urge you to speak from revelation, because in the kingdom, revelation is the sole standard of reality. Stand up, raise your head, issue clear commands, and speak out of the vault of divine plenty. You are not barred beyond the gates. You are the appointed opener, and your voice is the key that swings them wide. Now declare these words with me, not as a rote chant to manufacture belief, but as a recognition that when the tongue aligns with divine reality, unseen systems of wealth increase and cosmic order rearrange themselves to comply. Divine law is neither sluggish nor absent-minded, neither abstract nor dormant. It is living spiritual flame, and your voice is the match that kindles the altar where form appears. Settle your breathing, elevate your inner posture, and proclaim with complete energy, unwavering faith, and settled certainty. Money recognizes my voice. It does not hesitate when I speak, nor delay when I decree. It perceives the frequency of faith woven into my words, and moves because I move. It comes because I call. It responds because I have stopped whispering and begun to roar. Money recognizes my voice, for my voice is backed by law, and law is never ignored. Money is never confused before my instructions. Money does not sit to be subdued, it stands by to be summoned. I summon it now. I speak as one entrusted by heaven to steward wealth. I order expansion, and it complies. I do not request, I do not plead, nor linger for luck or fate's sympathy. Absolutely not. I govern as the rightful heir of the divine, the commissioned herald of abundance, the voice that bears Eden's first resonance. I declare increase, and you may wonder what has driven fear from my speech. Because I quit begging at the breeze and started directing the sea. And it complies not later, not eventually, but at once. Obedience is already in motion. I do not run after I select. I do not scramble after openings in panic or embarrassment. I sit in authority and select what is mine. I select what aligns with spiritual statute. I select overflow not out of emptiness, but because I am ordained to dispense it with clean hands and a commanding voice. I am no spiritual castaway pleading for scraps. I am the cherished steward whose speech reorganizes the storehouse. My wealth is governed by my word, not by economic cycles, computational formulas, trading floors, pay scales, expert forecasts, or the ghosts of yesterday. My word administers my abundance. It erects frameworks, channels currents, calls forth figures, unlocks vaults, endorses drafts, increases what is present, and renders visible what remained unseen. My speech rules my resources because it harmonizes with divine law, and divine law never returns empty. Now echo these affirmations with unhurried sincerity, bearing the courage of someone certain. You are not merely seeing lines, you are reshaping reality. Pause and breathe. Allow your soul to align with the sound you have set loose for this, has moved beyond concept or practice into spiritual action, holy exchange, and an unseen pact joining your voice to your environment, your decree to the miracle you summon into shape. This is more than instruction or presentation. It is an altar of accord, and your voice is the offering upon it kindled with holy flame, signaling to the unseen that a child of God has recalled power law. And the primordial truth, your wealth is not far away. It lies dormant within, waiting for your voice to wake it. I ask you, inviting you to act, not merely observe. Have you ever addressed money as its master rather than its subordinate? Have you spoken unashamed, unhesitating, steady-voiced, declaring with authority that you are not waiting for wealth's permission or its gradual appearance, because you are the one who commands, receives, directs, and multiplies it by decree? Have you honored your voice as a vault, as the ignition for spiritual wealth? If yes, let this be your open declaration. Inscribe it. Affirm it as though stating, I have just issued a command to money. Not a wish, not a weak hope, a command. And if something in you kindles, if a flame sparks at the edges of your soul, stay with this discipline. Come back daily, for this is not a flash of motivation, but schooling in vocal rule, the road to becoming steady, unmistakable, and sustained by the sound of truth. All things operate by law, unseen, unopposable, unfailing law. The statute I set before your soul is the law of divine agreement. The holy principle that nothing exists, appears, or becomes evident without accord in the unseen until your utterance and divine truth converge in one statement, until heaven and earth meet across the span of your voice, until timeless truth discovers in you a brave voice to shape it into form. It stands written, if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it shall be done for them. Matthew 18:19. Though this is often taken as a pact between two persons, I assert by the gravity of spiritual law, the strongest accord is the union of your spoken voice with your inward conviction between what you declare publicly and what your subconscious echoes privately. Your declaration cannot be merely external, it must resound in your inner sanctuary. It is inadequate to voice prosperity, while the soul's basement murmurs the opposite. You must serve as the second witness to your decree. Divine agreement requires your inner and outer realms to speak one truth. Conscious order and subconscious anticipation must unite, else the seed will not sprout. The vault will stay shut, and the current will not move. Doubt is not impartial, it jams the signal of spirit. Hesitation is not benign, it quietly cancels your decree. Fear is not inert, it becomes an unapproved guarantor on the drafts of your life. So I ask, calm yet urgent, what agreements are you making in secret? Do you let fear accompany your affirmations and approve them with a nod? Do you speak increase while privately anticipating postponement? Have you voiced, I receive, yet muttered, it won't happen in your mental margins? Two voices cannot be served. You cannot irrigate seeds of abundance while the mind chants scarcity. Soil refuses mixed messages. Spirit will not endorse confusion. Law does not submit to a split will. Align every layer, inner and outer, higher and lower, dawn and dusk. Your assignment: bring your entire being into consent with your decree, permitting no fragment to cling to resistance. Allow no part of yourself to grasp at lack. When you speak, let your spine affirm it. Let your breathing accompany it. Let your accounts schedule eyes stance and expectations align. When this concord is established, when the spirit's pitch is pure heaven, rushes to ratify money arrives quickly, substance assembles, and your words precipitate into concrete supply, definite and real. Attend carefully. Countless people trip over what their eyes display. They recite the present figures instead of issuing the figures that are due to emerge. They describe lack expertly, yet forget their assignment is not reportage, but reformation by decree to overrule by command, regarding the number not as fixed granite, but as a servant responding to their spiritual resonance. Think of a number as unassigned, awaiting orders from masterful awareness. A mist inviting definition. If the balance shows 7 and you quiver, saying, "I only have 7, you legitimize standstill. You stamp it with counterfeit permanence, giving it power it lacks because you discussed it rather than addressed it. Description wields no spiritual authority. Directive speech does. Quit reporting the balance. Regard it as a container destined for increase. Speak with authority. This account now receives divine increase. This number now multiplies under grace. This figure expands to correspond with my spiritual inheritance. Do not murmur, I hope it grows. Affirm, I decree expansion now. Declare divine substance occupy this space. Declare I assign wealth to this account. Declare money obey my voice and pour into this balance in perfect order with divine surplus and visible confirmation. Talking about the figure cements it to history. Addressing the figure permits it to reflect the reality arriving now. Hear a truth that changed a woman's life. She came to me with a trembling voice and panicked breath, confessing I only have 14 cents. Her account held 14 cents with debts towering and fear suffocating. I did not praise thrift or offer consolation within that figure. I trained her to address it. I told her, bless that account. Thank divine substance for its presence. Do not condemn or narrate it, command it. She obeyed. Day and night she proclaimed, these 14 cents now multiply under the law of spiritual substance. My account is full of divine surplus. I do not count coins. I count on God. By the third day, an unrequested, unforeseen check appeared, a gift of grace. 14 became 4,000. Her tone steadied. Fear converted to thanksgiving. So, consider, will you cease narrating and begin commanding? Will you look at your accounts without fear, but with sovereignty? When you see the figure, will you recall it is not ultimate truth, but a residue of past assumptions? Will you address it like a sculptor addresses marble, not describing the present, but directing the future? Will you declare, this number is now flooded with divine deposits? This balance now reflects the mathematics of heaven. This figure now bows to the law of my voice. I refuse to echo the figure, I revise it. Money is not bound to history. It moves under the present command. Do not merely relay what appears. Speak as an heir of heaven's vaults. Your tongue governs your funds. Your language forecasts your growth. Each number you face is a servant awaiting instruction. Thus, issue orders. Beneath much speech about finances lies a concealed root, a tangle of fear coiling around the tongue, choking the command at its birth. The dread is rarely of lack. It is of largeness of being richly supplied. It masquerades as virtue, humility, and inherited guilt, echoes saying wealth is perilous, proud, showy, or impossible to steward cleanly. That money taints the soul, mars innocence, or lures the heart away from God. Owing to these hidden wounds, your lips have professed abundance while your frame recoiled. You copied affirmations, yet inward verdicts made you wince. You pictured prosperity, yet shook at the vision of yourself actually prosperous. Understand, spirit never blocks increase. Only the secret fear inside does. That fear is not wholly shrewd or careful. It is a mirage dressed up self-sabotage masquerading as prudence. This is the saboteur posing as conscience, murmuring, what if I don't know how to handle it? What if others envy me? What if I lose myself? Let us incinerate those untruths. Let the breath of truth disperse them. You are no pretender in overflow. You are a steward of divine bequest. You are not undeserving. You are selected to receive in large and distribute goodness. You are not brittle in the face of wealth. You are a vessel fashioned by heaven to hold abundance with steadiness and clean intent. Declare with me steadily and with insight, I dissolve the inner fear of wealth. I sever agreement with scarcity. I let go of the shame once bound to money. I stand steady in abundance. I can be trusted with overflow. I am appointed to bear riches with clarity, humility, and sacred strength. Repeat it. Continue until the tangles loosen. Continue until the body ceases its pushback. Continue until the past yields to the authority carried by your voice. Now shut your eyes and picture this with me, you, before a colossal vault door, unbarred, unguarded, standing open, spacious, still waiting on you. Not for knocking, but for entry. Not for pleading, but for passage. Within lie ranges of holy provision agreements, payments, homes, investments, pathways. Rather than shrinking, you feel steady, grounded, upright. You neither hurry, nor waver, nor conceal yourself. You speak and affirm, I receive this. I was created for this. I do not fear blessing. I preside over it. I do not tremble before treasure. I govern it. This is my birthright, and I will no longer apologize for claiming it. Allow this vision to imprint as your inner template. Let composure in the face of wealth mark your spiritual signature. Let this quiet, centered stance lodge in your body as muscle memory of spirit. Understand, you were never fashioned to be flattened by plenty, but to stand anchored inside it. You were not born to dread large numbers, but to steward them. You were not designed to tiptoe around riches, but to arrange them by the authority of your speech. Therefore, fear must exit, guilt must melt, and shame must be cleansed in the stream of truth. You are not a mendicant who accidentally met favor. You are a divine authority recalling your inheritance. Stand tall, inhale fully, and pronounce spirit trusts me with great sums. Heaven does not fear my wealth, and neither do I. I no longer fear much, I manage it. I no longer fear millions, I multiply them. I no longer fear harvest, I gather it. In me, money finds its place. In me, abundance rests safely. A time arrives when the soul must rise from petition to proclamation, from delay to affirmation, from circling provision timidly to confronting it with authoritative speech, authority not borrowed or begged or secondhand, but conferred by spiritual statute itself. Understand, dear one, money does not capitulate to need it, heeds the voice. It is not stirred by desperation, but by decree. It does not answer quiet resignation, but the command issued by one who recalls being a spiritual initiator rather than a casualty of matter. This is the hour to quit labeling yourself unlucky, to stop apologizing for wanting increase, to end the refrain of it hasn't arrived yet, and to stand in your God-given authority, commanding abundance, not as a pleader for approval, but as one authorized by divine covenant. Address your provision as one rousing sleeping attendants, not in anger, but in authority, not in anxiety, but in steadiness, not in wavering, but with a voice so distinct it parts the room. Announce with certainty, I give money no option but to arrive. Decree all channels now open for me. Every divine encounter, every hidden path, every delayed opportunity, and every pending contract awaken and respond to my word. Regard each decree as a spiritual payroll disbursement. Heaven is unmoved by ruffled feelings. It responds to the exact frequency of your directives. Speak now, not as a petitioner for approval or a receiver of scraps, but as one who has stood before the throne of truth and heard, ask, and it shall be given. Speak, and it shall be done. Decree, and it shall be established. This is not ornament or figure of speech. It is statute. It is the method by which the unseen becomes seen, spiritual energy condenses into form, and divine substance appears as funds in your account. Yet this arrival is not by weeping, nor by panic, nor by broadcasting need. It comes when you grasp the chain of command in the spiritual order. You will speak not as a loiterer, but as a priest of provision, a captain of goodness, a keeper of overflow, one who does not flinch to command what heaven has already bestowed. Therefore, I ask plainly and firmly, will you speak as one who knows overflow is your divine inheritance? Or will you continue speaking like a petitioner for a miracle rather than its activator? Will you speak with the assurance that comes from covenant, or hesitate until you judge your voice worthy enough? Will your mouth bleed like an unhealed wound or function as a precise instrument that issues spiritual invoices? Hear me, one kind of speech manufactures pain, the other generates payment. One sustains scarcity, the other constructs a history of abundance. One postpones what already belongs to you, the other summons it decisively into your grasp. Now declare with me aloud, not softly, money, I command you now. Flow to me in perfect divine order. Come in total supply. Manifest under spiritual law. You have no option but to obey. All resistance is removed. I speak and you obey. I decree and you respond. My word is your master key. And again, repeat verbatim, I give money no alternative but to arrive. I hesitate no more. I apologize no more. I fear no more. I speak with the fire of divine authority, and the gates of wealth open before my voice. Breathe now. Notice the change in the air. Perceive the atmosphere hum with alertness, because your decree has been inscribed in the spiritual registry of divine directives. Heaven never mishears your statements, it operates according to them. What you spoke was not verse. It was a spiritual payroll order. It was not a hopeful plea. It was the application of law. You were not toying with words. You engaged mechanisms in the unseen. Therefore, supply is compelled to answer you. Allow these affirmations to rise not merely from your mouth, but from your core, from the throne of your inner sanctuary, the site where fear has no air, defeat has no echo, and counterfeit authority has no throne. In that space, your voice stops being mere feeling and becomes a consecrated scepter of command. When I say affirm these words, I do not mean a timid rite. I mean thunder from within. Let every cell attend. Let your bones assent. Let your breathing tune itself to wealth's frequency until the ledger loses power, because you are already moving in spiritual credit. Speak now, I release to money a divine directive, not a casual hint or well-mannered appeal, but a decree. A consecrated command authorized by Spirit, dispatched as a proclamation sealed with fire and holiness, not born of fantasy, but rooted in unseen law, where it instantly starts reorganizing the energetic pattern of my life. This is not mere imagining, this is the process by which faith reshapes form and concealed vibration steps into visibility. Declare I attract wealth through my decree, not by strategy nor effort, nor any external tactic, but by the command that vibrates in harmony with the divine. Wealth is not moved by fear, it is drawn by spiritual certainty. My word is the magnet. My tone is the force field, and my repetition is the thread that pulls supply from silence into matter. Then add precisely as written, the invisible reorganizes at my command. And do not speak like a dreamer, Speak like one who stared into emptiness, announced abundance to the void, and watched it answer. Speak like one who confronted delay and refused retreat. Speak as a person who doesn't wait for the world to adjust, but whose utterance compels the world to shift. Then state this climactic line, slow, fervent, convinced. My tongue is the lever that opens all vaults, not some, not occasionally, but all. All gates, doors, financial paths, contracts, investments, and divine appointments marked with my name open, for my tongue is not flesh and blood. It is a spiritual instrument, a legitimate key, a tool of creation, a divine hammer. Your voice unseals what many assume locked, because you were not designed to plead at the doors of supply, you were fashioned to command them. You sense the pulse, the current, the heat rising your spine, and the widening in your chest. This sensation is not mere sentiment, it is proof. The change is genuine. The rearrangement is underway. The vault has received your word. Since the decree has gone forth, since your tongue has been freed by truth, since the air hums with divine wealth frequency, I ask, will you slip back into silence, or will you stand in your post as a steady, authoritative speaker? Will you become the one who trains the world to keep spiritual time, the one who does not beg from heaven, but moves in concert with it? Understand, this is not sound for entertainment. It is a contest for your voice. If you depart with a blazing heart, yet keep your mouth closed, you simply reenact scarcity's ache. But if you carry today's declarations into tomorrow and the day after, and again when doubt circles back, and yet again when account figures test your certainty, you will certify the principle: wealth does not bow to the passive, it answers the instructor. Money does not remain with the grumbler, it abides with the one who commands. Then you will grasp that divine substance does not answer need, logic, research, or rushing. It responds to the voice, steady, consecrated, and rhythmic. So I press you fiercely rather than gently. Will you speak each day or slide back into muteness? Will you condition your environment to heed you, or allow it yet again to condition you into retreat? Will you author expansion or submit as a casualty of postponement? If your voice is sacred, and it is, let that sanctity speak daily without pause or pretext, until the ground under you is no longer upheld by effort, but sculpted by fulfilled decrees. Until money shifts before your sentence is complete. Until wealth presents itself because your words have tilled the field. Declare with me exactly: money, I now instruct you, not tomorrow, not when I feel better, not when I understand more. Now as I speak, you change. As I declare, you rise. Let heaven record and let earth obey. There is a law, unhidden yet forgotten, everlasting, not human-made, threaded through divine reality itself. That law declares what your mouth pronounces already exists. Your voice does not manufacture provision, it discloses it. Your statement does not conjure from void, it lifts a curtain to reveal what was prepared. This is the statute of immediate supply. Though the world repeats that you must delay, deserve, ascend, or survive ordeals, before a breakthrough, I affirm by spiritual law, none of it is necessary, and none of it is ultimately true. All that insistence is a mental mirage. The divine source has never lacked, never stalled, never limited its goodness. It abides in quiet completeness, awaiting the soul bold enough to speak with present tense faith. It listens for the voice that proclaims it is here, ahead of visible proof, for the one who stops begging sense perception for permission, and moves with unseen truth, addressing what eyes do not yet witness. For it is written, before they call, I will answer, and while they are still speaking, I will hear. Do you grasp the implication? There is no such thing as too late. In spirit, provision outruns, thought outpaces intellect, and exceeds what logic permits. The moment your decree aligns with divine law, motion is underway, or better, the good stood at the threshold, awaiting your voice to unlatch it. You are not constructing the house, it already stands in heaven. You are not inventing supply, it has long been poised for commissioning. You need not plead for rain, you unfold the umbrella. Your utterance does not bring something from nothing, it uncovers what is present. Your decree does not coerce divinity, it harmonizes with God's settled decree. Therefore, if you wait, feel want, or live shackled to, when the right question is not, when will it arrive, but when will I speak as though it already has? Hear it once more until your inner life glows with conviction. Money does not respond to need, terror, kind intentions, or unspoken ache. Money moves by law, resonance, and command. And command is not a private thought, it is voiced sound, the union of breath speech and sacred cadence that proclaims without flinching, it is here. In the instant you dare to say, it is here, prior to evidence, numbers, or nerves, precisely when you summon the unseen, you pull the sluice open. You do not implore water, you clear the dam. You do not await a sign, you initiate the order. Provision has always been instantaneous, and your word has always spanned the gap from hush to resonance, from lack to plenty, from idea to ownership. Speak not on the basis of feelings, conditions, or friendly figures. Speak because statute demands it. Speak because fulfillment already exists beyond sight. Speak because silence has run its course and your order is late. Law requires no evidence, only a voice. Now you are called to the unthinkable, that which contradicts logic, yet stands lawful in spirit. Not for difficulty's sake, but because its simplicity unsettles the rational mind. You must name it present, not pending, not wished for in scarcity's voice, not delayed for better optics. Affirm it present now. State it with your whole self, with the steady resonance of one who refuses delay, not bargaining with God, but aligning with his governing law. And speak it not as a single frantic burst, but repeatedly with rule and regularity, not to persuade others, but to inscribe upon your subconscious, ever awaiting orders, the identity of the true authority through unwavering words. When you state, I do not wait for money, money waits for my word, you exit the worn chronology of grind and trigger the instant crystallization of spiritual substance. When you affirm, it arrives now, not with nervous strain, but with holy certainty. You align with the tone that cancels time's illusion and tears the veil between what heaven has prepared and what earth is primed to display. You are not in delay, you are issuing orders. You are not wishing, you are asserting possession. You are not imprisoned, you are poised in stillness, and that stillness is the last shade to be transfigured. Now choose, will your tongue serve yesterday or establish tomorrow? Will your voice echo fear or architect your fortune? With sacred courage, I say, announce the present. The unseen is not far. It stands near, alert and ready. The very moment your language hums at heaven's frequency, when your decree stops reciting limits and starts voicing completion, matter inclines in obedience. Matter is not your source. It is your servant unable to withstand a clean, steady, unapologetic command. Abandon the refrain, I need it to come. Replace it with, it is already here. Stop scrutinizing balances. Scrutinize your tone. Audit your words. Are you narrating postponement or pronouncing rule? Start every statement as though heaven's vault already stands ajar. Move through spaces like someone whose payment has posted. Take your seat like one whose name is etched on the entrance. Address the unseen with a cadence so steady that form becomes inevitable. This is your sacred protocol. Keep at this practice until it becomes breath itself, your tempo the lullaby of your soul. Say, I do not wait for money, it is money that waits for my word. My decree moves divine supply. My tone carries the vibration of God's abundance. My sentence is the command that instructs prosperity, and I speak as one who holds spiritual authority. Continue repeating until every stale narrative unravels. Announce it until the surroundings agree. Persist until the air hums, your balances mirror alignment, your body settles, and your dwelling knows the resonance of inner certainty. Matter is never first to move, your voice is. When it rises, when your word is fixed, and your decree stands, substance must appear. Do not delay your pronouncements. Do not wait for readiness or kinder weather. You are not merely reporting your truth, you are creating your spiritual ledger. Announce the shift now and refuse to glance behind. Let us revisit the quiet thread in your spiritual attire, unseen yet constricting, sewn into your very sense of self. Delay's dialect hides in gentle-sounding habits, in culturally approved murmurs that slide off the tongue but bind like irons. One day I'll be rich. It hasn't come yet. Maybe it's not my time. If it's meant to be, it will be. These are not harmless lines. They are covert contracts with stagnation loyalties to the world's fallen timeline, refusals masquerading as patience with the law of now. Each time you speak postponement, you stretch the gap between command and appearance, not for lack of substance, but because your voice quarantines the miracle, locking it away with guardedness. Dread of letdown or powerlessness draped in humility. It is time to void those sentences. Drive out these later spirits by name, by breath, by sound, by the focused fire of intention. Proclaim with authority, I revoke every word that allied me with delay. I undo every sentence that allowed postponement to root in my subconscious. I free myself from every whisper that led me to wait, to lower my faith, to dilute my decree with the weight of realism. I consecrate my tongue, cleansing it of every expression that served as an obstacle to divine speed. Indeed, speech must be purified before inheritance is claimed, formulation sanctified before provision is summoned. Admit that each someday, maybe, or when the time is right, shoves aside the supply eager to settle into your present. Replace them with, this is my time of immediate response. State with certainty, what I say manifests now. Divine wealth is already here, and I make it visible through the word. Affirm delay is no longer my belief. I trust the now. I do not mentally await what is already spiritually present. Keep declaring until the aged language system shatters, melts, and is reforged into the living architecture of divine immediacy. Envision your tongue bathed in golden oil, anointed to command, robed in light, nimble, traversing realms of abundance known only by those freed from the lie of later, who neither consult appearances nor cage faith with logic. View it as holy fire cleansing every syllable that once persuaded you to delay. Let it thus be accomplished, perfected, and refined. From today, speak out of the realm called now. Communicate as one who rules time, not haggles with it. Do not question if this is your hour. Assert that it is. Refuse your mouth as a refuge for stale beliefs, or your tone as a courier of orphaned hesitations. Let your voice receive fresh anointing resonant with it is already done. Let every utterance be heavy with presence and backed by spiritual statute. With delay's toxin purged from tongue and memory, you are prepared to command not just wealth's presence, but its motion. Money was never designed for mere observation or storage. It exists to flow and multiply by movement mirroring spirit's nature, which neither stalls, nor hoards, nor hesitates. Divine substance is no pond, it is a river. And until you direct it, it stays still, not because it lacks power, but because your silence echoes. Step up into your office as captain of currents. Become the voice that calls flow forth. Refrain from talking about movement, address movement itself. Do not wonder whether wealth will arrive. Order it like Moses raising the staff to divide the sea. No begging of waves, but a command fortified by divine commission. Speak this money flow like rivers, not by droplets, postponements, or thin rivulets, but as steady, safe, abundant, multiplying streams. Again, money flow like rivers. Once more, money flow like rivers. Your tongue is more than speech. It is the helm of your wealth, the marshal of its movement, the baton conducting your financial orchestra. Understand your accounts, heed your voice, and clients' contracts and resources are unseen attendants waiting for orders. Grasp this truth: your balance is not waiting on toil, but on your spiritual statute. Each deposit is conceived by a decree. Each expansion starts with a voice lifted above fright forecasts, and the old money story that tried to civilize a voice meant to prophesy. I ask, will you discipline your tongue to conduct flow, or simply echo the market? Will you assert divine movement, or keep chronicling lack? Will you choose language that sets things in motion, or keep practicing mental paralysis and labeling it realism? This is the hinge, beloved, the hour when your mouth becomes a fountain or a wall, a conduit of flow or a mirror of scarcity. Declare, I move the market with my voice. Say it again, I move the market with my voice. Not by coercion, nor by tactic alone, but by alignment with spirit. When your words synchronize with divine substance, when your command goes forth with clean intent and sacred courage, money perceives you not simply as a person, but as a principle. Not merely a voice, but a governing center. You are the one flow was waiting for. You are the mouth of spiritual plenty. You are not a pail pleading for rain, but the cloud releasing it. Thus speak to movement as a commander, not a suggester. Stop narrating lack. Stop cataloging limits. Stand at the dam's heart and rupture it by your speech, your breath, and your tonal authority. Proclaim, I speak flow now. I speak movement now. I speak financial rivers now. And do not utter it a single time. Repeat it day by day, hour by hour, until your subconscious gains native fluency in abundance, until your spirit ceases to entertain scarcity's accent, and your whole frequency becomes identified with motion, ease, and increase. Here is the threshold where you cease merely directing the river and begin to be the river. Voice these lines with a stable tongue, unhurried breathing, and an upright stance, remembering that heaven's vaults are activated by your word and by spiritual statute are obligated to answer. Such vaults do not react to begging spreadsheets or oscillating moods. They move to the steady cadence of decree issued by a person who knows wealth is not a trophy to attain, but a homecoming to one's divine abundance. Your sentences are not casual affirmations. They are spiritual directives, consecrated economic statutes, vibrational coordinates that call divine order into the visible. Therefore, speak not as a trainee reciting drills, but as a lawgiver releasing ordinance. Announce, I am financed by divine decree. Refuse to murmur, speak it like thunder clothed in gentleness. Let that tone rouse your very cells and break every old alliance with lack. Say it once more intact, I am financed by divine decree. Then declare, my command is clear and supply obeys. Take the posture of a builder of wonders, issuing directions to the next agreement. Stand as the officiant of your inner treasury, authorizing its distribution. In the spiritual economy, clarity is not optional, it is itself a currency. Muddled language yields muddled outcomes, whereas a precise decree restructures circumstance. Declare exactly, my command is clear, and supply obeys. Permit the resonance of that line to melt the archives of hesitation. Allow its tone to travel across every yesterday in which you doubted value or imagined pain as a prerequisite to receiving. Let this statement overwrite those histories with the register of royal authority. Announce, I am the voice of wealth alignment. Allow this sentence to shatter the sound wall that once separated you from supply. Send it ahead of you into appointments, correspondence, and unopened thresholds. Let it saturate the air, encircling your craft vocation and accounts. You are not applying for blessing, you are broadcasting alignment. You are not craving abundance, you are unlocking it by sound. Repeat without alteration, I am the voice of wealth alignment. With leonine strength and heaven's rhythms seal this movement, the spiritual economy listens when I speak. Receive it as the closing decree of this phase. Allow it to settle into marrow breath and bloodstream, for what you touch now is no market cycle, but a spiritual inheritance keyed to your voice and to no other. It answers neither resume nor anxiety nor image, but the frequency of your utterance. Repeat exactly, the spiritual economy listens when I speak. Now I address you directly, not your hesitations, not your history, not your fears, not your ledger, and not the clock's nervous ticking. I speak to you, the spiritual hearer, who carries the seed of dominion within, perhaps forgetting that it flowers only through voiced sound. This is the moment where concepts melt and genuine exchange starts, not a trade of currency, but of energy, resolve, and rightful authority. Do you grasp the law? Have you noticed the shift, perceived how wealth vibrates back to your tone? Here is the true summons, the holy threshold dividing spectators from those who stand up and utter decree. Therefore, I ask you, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, has your command been released? Or does it remain caged inside, buried under timidity and doubt? Have you merely listened while staying mute? Or have you stood up in your own voice as the prophet of your household, the governor of your days, the sovereign of your domain? Understand, no transformation occurs until the mouth is transformed. No reordering begins until your voice sounds through the halls of spiritual structure. Reality answers not to moods, but to words. Therefore, I call you forth not softly, but under divine commission. Announce to the universe that your silence is finished. Speak on paper out loud to your hands, your wallet, or your account if you must, and declare, I govern money by divine voice. Treat this not as a slogan or emblem, but as a consecrated decree, a spiritual entry filed in the atmosphere that cannot return empty. If these lines have stirred, lifted, or awakened, you refuse to fall back into quiet. Stay devoted not from obligation, but because your atmosphere needs feeding. Vibration is not a tourist stop, it is a dwelling. Dominion is not an event you watch, it is a stature you embody. This is beyond pep talk, it is renovation. It is wealth's architecture assembled one decree at a time, across days and weeks and months until your world displays the visible harvest of loyalty to the unseen. This is your consecrated assignment, not to observe again, but to speak and to go on speaking as a commander until the mountain shifts, the payment clears, the agreement is signed, and the floodgates of abundance stop being promise and turn into fact. We now approach the sacred seal, the highest activation, the culminating tone, the moment when every prior statement takes flesh through your own decree. Without your voice, all of this stays as theory. Absent sound, all stays conceptual. Yet what I deliver is not idea, it is living recall of the law etched in your bones. I am here to spark Dominion's fire in your speech and to remind you that you mirror not circumstance, but divine utterance embodied, crowned with spiritual authority. You, dear soul, were not sent to petition for wealth, to beg for advancement, or to bargain with appearances. You were sent to pronounce, to govern, to command, to speak as one appointed and anointed by divine statute. Therefore, breathe more slowly, anchor your spirit, ease your body, sense the inner throne lifting beneath your chest to support your voice. You are about to speak not as a common individual, but as a living law, not as a mere citizen of the world, but as a conduit of the unseen, appointed to reconfigure matter by spiritual authority. And as you utter the next line, refuse to frame it as a plea or wishful melody. Speak it as an order stamped with heaven's strength, a royal decree borne by angels on mission, a spiritual dispatch that cannot return unfulfilled. Now declare exactly money. I speak to you in this instant. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Repeat slower, fuller, clearer, as if the air itself were an audience. Money, I speak to you now. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Say it a third time, shoulders squared, chin lifted, spirit anchored in authority. Money, I speak to you now. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Then add holy variations, recite them morning and evening upright, or seated in hush or in steadiness, for tone outweighs loudness and conviction, surpasses mere decibels. Now speak these lines. Money, I speak to you. Come now. Again, money, I speak to you. Expand without resistance. Continue, money, I speak to you. Multiply under grace in perfect ways. And now, dear one, finish on the summit not with turmoil or fear, but with composed authority. Stand as one who has decreed and knows it stands accomplished. Say, my word is law. My wealth obeys. My time is now. Repeat, my word is law. My wealth obeys. My time is now. And once again, fully persuaded, my word is law. My wealth obeys. My time is now. Allow these phrases to vibrate through your marrow and embed in your inner mind. Permit them to supplant each scarcity whisper, each delay echo, every shadow of unworthiness. Mark this as the hour your tongue turns into a key for vaults, a staff for seas, a rod that coaxes water from stone. This is more than a conclusion, it is your coronation in spirit. Rehearse this decree daily, not as rote, but as royalty. Inscribe it, sing it, proclaim it, breathe it, embody it. For you now understand a faith-filled word moves money at once, not by spell, but by the permanence of the sustaining law. And the voice, bold enough to speak it, becomes the fountainhead of multiplication. You are precisely that voice. You are the initiating cause.